An important announcement from HDFC Bank. A giant interest rate for your fixed deposit that you deposit this month. Enjoy special interest rates based on deposit amount and the government security. Call 0718 800 999. HDFC.
In a few moments, the news.
A giant interest rate for your fixed deposit that you deposit this month. Enjoy special interest rates based on deposit amount and the government security.
This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
(8:45). This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Romesh Piris and read by Soundithavam. The President says the contribution made by the late Chief Prelate of the Ramana chapter, Most Venerable Napane Pemasirithera, to the Buddha Sasana is limitless. A website regulatory process to be implemented. COVID-19 recoveries on the increase. The DMC warns fisherfolk in the north and east coast of the prevailing dangerous climatic conditions. Isolation in several areas in Colombo and Gampaha to be lifted tomorrow. Office trains to operate from tomorrow. In international news, US election, Trump camp's lawsuit struck down in Pennsylvania. And in sports, it's cricket. The SLC and ICC anti-corruption units to monitor the LPL. The final rites of the Chief Prelate of the Ramana chapter, Most Venerable Napane Pemasirithera, was conducted today under state patronage. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa also attended the funeral proceedings. The Most Venerable Thera passed away on Tuesday at the age of 98. Agga Mahapandita Most Venerable Makulave Vimalathera was named as the new Chief Prelate of the Ramana chapter. The appointment was confirmed when the Sangha Council convened this morning. Speaking at the funeral, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa said, when considering the service provided by the Chief Prelate of the Ramana chapter, Most Venerable Napane Pemasirithera, to the Buddha Sasana, the country and all Buddhists, his passing away is a great loss to society and himself personally. President Rajapaksa said the service provided by the Mahasangha, including the late Venerable Napane Pemasirithera, is limitless, especially regarding spreading of Buddhism in society and rallying Sri Lankans for this purpose. Another 175 individuals have tested positive for COVID-19 thus far today, increasing the total number of infections recorded in Sri Lanka to 19,946. All 175 cases have been identified as associates of the Minuwangoda-Paliagoda COVID-19 cluster. Accordingly, the number of cases linked to the cluster increases to 16,427. The number of COVID-19 recoveries recorded in the country increased to 14,069 after another 479 patients recovered and were discharged during the past 24 hours. 5,794 COVID-19 patients, including 12 foreign nationals, are currently receiving treatment at 56 hospitals across the island, while 456 suspected cases remain under medical observation. The Disaster Management Centre says due to the prevailing dangerous climatic conditions, individuals should not set sail from the northern and eastern coastal areas on fishing expeditions. The Deputy Director and media spokesman of the DMC, Pradeep Kodipili, urged those in seas off the northern and eastern provinces to return to safe locations immediately. He said waves of up to 2 feet, including swirl waves, can be expected in the region. Pradeep Kodipili noted from tomorrow the prevailing showers could enhance and residents of the northern, north central and eastern provinces may experience strong winds up to 60 kilometers per hour. Therefore, he requested the fishing community and residents to remain vigilant. The Army Commander, Lieutenant General Shavendra Silva, stated that isolation of several areas in the Colombo and Gampaha districts will be lifted from tomorrow. The decision will be in effect from 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. Borella, Vallampitiya, Colombo Fort and Slave Island police areas in the Colombo district will be reopened in this manner. However, the Vakanda Grama Niladhari division in the Slave Island police area and the Vanathamulla Grama Niladhari division in the Borella police area will continue to remain in isolation. Isolation orders in 13 more police areas in the Colombo district will be in effect until further notice. In addition, the isolation in Jaila and the Kadavata police areas in the Gampaha district will also be lifted tomorrow. 5 more police areas in the Gampaha district will continue to remain isolated until further notice. The following areas will remain under isolation until further notice. In the Colombo district, Matakulia, Modara, Grand Pass, Blumandal, Kotahena, Foreshore, Adirupu Street, Dam Street, Peta, Keselvatta, Maligavatta, Dematagoda and Maradana police areas. In the Gampaha district, Nigambo, Wattala, Paliagoda, Ragama and the Kalania police areas. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
A giant interest rate for your fixed deposit that you deposit this month. Enjoy special interest rates based on deposit amount and the government security. Call 0718 800 999.
The Sri Lanka Railways special office trains will operate in the mornings and evenings from tomorrow. The Railway Department said trains will not stop at stations in isolated areas. Accordingly, along the main railway line, trains will not halt at Maradana, Dematagoda, Kalaniya, Banavasala, Enderemulla, Ragama, Walpala and Batuvatta. Along the Puttalam railway line, trains will not stop in Maradana, Dematagoda, Kalaniya, Banavasala, Horape, Ragama, Kurana, Nigambu and Kattua. Along the Kalani Valley line, trains will not stop in Maradana and Baseline, while along the coastline, trains will operate from Panadura, Kalutara South, Alutgama, Hikkadua, Gaul, Matara and Beliatta. The Parliamentary Council will meet tomorrow at 4 p.m. at the Parliament under the patronage of the Speaker, Mahindayapa Abeyewardena. Nominations made by His Excellency President Gotabaya Rajapaksa for vacancies in the Court of Appeal and appointments to the post of Inspector General of Police will be considered at the meeting. Honourable Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, Leader of the Opposition Sajith Premadasa, Fisheries Minister Douglas Devananda and Opposition MP Kabir Hashim are representing the Parliamentary Council. The Secretary General of Parliament Dhammika Dasanayaka is the Secretary of this Parliamentary Council. That's local news.
An important announcement from HDFC Bank. A giant interest rate for your fixed deposit that you deposit this month. Enjoy special interest rates based on deposit amount and the government security. Call 0718 800 999. HDFC.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
The Minister of Mass Media, K.L. Rambukwala, says a website regulatory process will be implemented within the next 2 weeks. Attending the Ministerial Consultative Committee on Mass Media, Minister K.L. Rambukwala stated a suitable mechanism for the regulation of websites is needed and will be implemented within the next 2 weeks. Minister Rambukwala stressed that the Press Council Act should be amended in a way that it would protect the dignity of the citizens. He also said that the rights of all citizens should be protected by the media. The minister also pointed out that defamation which is unjust should have control and that media regulation is required. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
In Watchlight, the National Child Protection Authority today launched a telephone app 1929 to help protect children from all forms of harassment, abuse and maltreatment. The NCPA added that this app will be made available to the public once its trial period is over, and that came to you in Watchlight. On to a bulletin of world news in the headlines. US election, Trump camp's lawsuit struck down in Pennsylvania. Ethiopia's Tigray crisis, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed rejects talks, and China seeks to retrieve first moon rocks since the 1970s. A judge in Pennsylvania has dismissed a lawsuit from the Trump campaign that sought to invalidate millions of mail-in votes in the battleground state. Judge Matthew Brand said the suit, which rested on allegations of irregularities, was without merit. The move paves the way for Pennsylvania to next week certify Joe Biden's win. He leads by more than 80,000 votes. It is the latest blow to Donald Trump, who is trying to overturn his loss in the 3rd November presidential election. The Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed, says the Ethiopian government will not talk with leaders of the northern Tigray region to end the conflict there. African leaders have urged the government to meet Tigrayan leaders. The conflict had reportedly killed hundreds and displaced thousands in recent weeks. The UN has warned it could trigger a humanitarian crisis. China is to make the first attempt to retrieve rocks from the moon since the 1970s. It is hoped the unmanned Chang'e 5 probe, to be launched on Tuesday, will bring back samples to help understand the moon's origin and formation. The last mission of its kind, Luna 24, was by the Soviet Union in 1976. If the latest probe is successful, China will become the 3rd country to have retrieved lunar rock after the US and the USSR. Back to the headlines of the world news. US election, Trump camp's lawsuit struck down in Pennsylvania. Ethiopia's Tigray crisis, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed rejects talks. And China seeks to retrieve first moon rocks since the 1970s. That's world news, and on to development news. The Committee on Public Enterprises disclosed that the construction of the Central Expressway has been surrounded by multiple irregularities. The COPE chairman, Professor Charita Herath, thus directed the Secretary to the Ministry of Highways to submit a report on the financial loss incurred due to the project in the original project. The COPE chairman, inquiring about the current condition of the Central Expressway, revealed that only 5% of the work on the Kadawatha-Mirigama section has been completed, and 75% of the work on the second section from Mirigama to Kurunegala has been completed. The Secretary to the Ministry of Highways stated the construction could be completed by June next year. Meanwhile, the project director said that the procurement process for the Galagedara section from Pothuhara has resumed and work could commence in the coming year. The committee recommended that a progress report should be submitted on the progress of the 1st, 3rd and 4th sections of the Central Expressway. That came to you in development news. On to sports. Sri Lanka Cricket stated that the Lanka Premier League 2020 will have all the necessary measures in place to protect the absolute integrity of the tournament and will adopt a zero-tolerance policy against any wrongdoing. Sri Lanka Cricket's Anti-Corruption Unit, in collaboration with the International Cricket Council's Anti-Corruption Unit, is administering the anti-corruption initiatives at the Lanka Premier League 2020, and relevant officials will be present and vigilant at every match, event and official functions throughout the tournament at the venue and the hotel. That's sports news. Business news up next.
Empower your dreams with NSV Wings. NSV Wings. Reach out the high goals.
Business news. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The strong partnership between Singer Sri Lanka and ASUS has resulted in the advent of 11th generation laptops for the first time ever in Sri Lanka. Singer's latest introduction of the Asus laptops with 11th Gen Intel processors comes with a 2-year global warranty. The new 11th Gen lineup offers the best processor for thin and light laptops, along with brand new features on the Intel TGL platform, thus bringing meaningful technology to life. That's business news. We look at economic news next.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The wait is over, and it's time for you to experience happiness. It's time to remap the graph for success. It's time to rebuild your empire. It's time to initiate your entrepreneur dreams. Empower your dreams with NSV Wings. Get your 2-year personal loan for just 7% per annum, starting from 500,000 rupees to 10 million rupees. All you need is just one guarantee. NSV Wings. Recharge the high goals.
Economic news, courtesy of
Business Deals, now easy. It just takes a few taps only. Anytime, get it done, all connected. Best discounts with real time. LOLC Real Time. Now download LOLC Finance Real Time app for your LOLC savings account. Attractive interest rates, transactions anytime, anywhere with a zero cost and no benefits.
Colombo's all-share price index gained 0.4% or 24.11 points to close at 6,085. The S&P SL20 index of more liquid stocks gained 0.3% or 7.9 points to 2,395.07. The main index started a daily low of 6,073.69 but picked up to close marginally high on volatile trading. The market turnover was 1.4 billion rupees, with 111 stocks gaining and 62 falling. That's economic news.
Hello, Puta. Did you land already?
We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy.
Calm down. Everything is sorted. Why? I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge.
LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
On to the weather report. The Department of Meteorology has issued a red alert warning of heavy rain, strong winds and rough seas. The warning was announced this afternoon by the Natural Hazards Early Warning Centre of the Meteorology Department. The department says that the low-pressure area over the Bay of Bengal, southeast Sri Lanka, is expected to intensify further into a depression during the next 24 hours and intensify further into a cyclonic storm during the subsequent 24 hours. It is likely to move northwestwards towards the northeast coast of Sri Lanka on the 24th of November. Meanwhile, the Met Department says that showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the eastern, northern and north-central provinces. Heavy falls above 150 millimeters are likely at some places. Several spells of showers will occur in the western and Sabragama provinces and in the Puttalam, Gaul and Matara districts. Whereas strong gusty winds of 60 to 70 kilometers per hour can be expected in the eastern, northern and north-central provinces. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by strong winds. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. The President says the contribution made by the late Chief Prelate of the Ramanya chapter, Most Venerable Napane Pemasirithera to the Buddha Sasana is limitless. A website regulatory process to be implemented. COVID-19 recoveries on the increase. The DMC warns fisherfolk in the north and east coast of the prevailing dangerous climatic conditions. Isolation in several areas in Colombo and Gampaha to be lifted tomorrow. Office trains to operate from tomorrow. US election, Trump camp's lawsuit struck down in Pennsylvania. And the SLC and ICC anti-corruption units to monitor the LPL. That concludes this bulletin of news.